my cafe, my pet info cafe. Pour yourself a warm cup of your favorite and let's chat about our love of pets. I'm your host, Jennifer Eileen, and I am so delighted to present our topic today, raising and training puppies to become service dogs and Maui's graduation. Let's hear from our guests, Kathy Benner, founder of Healing House, and also please welcome River Blake and our very special pet guest, Maui. Welcome, you two.
Thank you so
it's
much.
So great, and welcome back, Maui. Welcome back, Kathy.
Thank you
welcome,
for having us.
River. So nice to have you all here. So for everyone's information, Maui and Kathy were here for episode 16. They were part of the program we did on training puppies with inmates, and Maui he's a star right now. That's great. But just for reference, tell us about Healing House, your program, and how Maui's part of it.
Okay,
yeah.
So Healing House is a 501c3 nonprofit, and we train therapy dogs and service dogs to work with children with special needs. And we're actually having our 10-year anniversary this year.
Oh,
so yes, we've been around for 10 years. Yeah, thank you. And so Maui is part of our service dog program.
And so Maui has been trained and homed with you, and I understand he also has been a daddy. So there's all of that. That's exciting. But he was, you were part of his training program. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, definitely. So every year we place between 5 and 7 service dogs, and we actually start training those dogs when they're 8 weeks old. Some of them come from breeders and others come from our own in-house breeding program. Mm-hmm. So Maui was actually a part of that in-house breeding program. Mm-hmm. He had a litter last year, and one of his sons is actually in our program this year. So
that's great.
His legacy lives on.
Very strongly.
Yes, his son looks just like him. So,
great.
And he's great. I'm excited to see his future as well. But so when the dogs are 8 weeks old, they are placed in puppy raising homes. And you're going to meet some of those later, but I was a puppy raiser, Maui's litter year, and I was his puppy raiser. So he lived with me from when he was 8 weeks old until he graduated and went with River.
Oh, wow, that's such a beautiful story. Well, so Maui is part of the Hawaiian group. So tell us about the name, the Hawaiian group, and then tell us about the graduation ceremony and aloha.
Okay,
yeah.
So every year we have a theme when we name our puppies that are in our service dog program. And Maui's group was a part of our aloha litter. And I might have had a little bit to do with that since I lived in Hawaii for 5 years. Yeah, so I was really excited that everyone agreed that we could do an aloha litter. So we had their graduation in March, and we try to make the graduation themed the same as the theme of the litter. So it was nice. It was an easy one. So we had kind of a big luau, and we had leis, and we had a lot of different decorations, lots of flowers, and it was very pretty, probably our prettiest one we've ever had. Mm-hmm. And so there's 3 of us that are on staff that we usually each get up and say something to the graduating class. And so this year I talked about the meaning of aloha, and there's actually a few different meanings. So it's like a greeting. So it's a welcome, hello. It's a send off. So it's kind of a goodbye. And it also means love as well. So as I was thinking about what I wanted to say to the graduating class, it was actually really easy because it all really fit in to that theme, because we welcomed everyone into our hearts and into our group. And the first time that we introduced the dogs to their new people they're going to be placed with, it's a pretty magical moment, really, for everybody. The dogs seem to really pick who they're going to be with, and we don't have a whole lot to do with it. We just let it happen, and they choose each other, and it's a really neat minute, and we take a picture of it, and so that we have that to remember forever. And part of the graduation, obviously, they're going off and they're going to be living their lives together, but we don't ever really want to say goodbye, and we try to keep in touch, and we do follow-ups, and we have meetings, meetup groups that meet once a month. so that everybody can get together and share stories and see how they're doing. And it's not common to have a service dog, so it's great for them to be able to support each other and talk to each other about the trials and tribulations and the successes and everything that goes with having a service dog. And then the love part is I think it's fairly obvious, but there's just, with all the people that are involved with the raising of these puppies, there's so much love that goes into all these dogs, and it's great for us to be able to share that with somebody that's very deserving. And we encourage everybody to take that and go out into the world and share that love as well, and just remember where everybody, where it all came from, really. So, and it's an honor to be able to see them graduate and to be able to speak and hopefully, send something of ourselves out with everybody.
That's right. Well, one other thing I recall is that there was something about growing up in Hawaii that inspired you to work with animals. Can you say about
actually,
that?
So my sister moved to Hawaii when I was in high school. And so I would go visit. It was a tough one, but I had to go visit her. Yeah. And when I would go visit, I always went to Sea Life Park. It was an oceanarium. Yeah. And I sat in the auditorium there watching the show. And that was the moment that I realized that this is it. I'm going to be an animal trainer, and I'm going to figure out how to make it happen. And it was just that really moment of clarity when I knew what I was going to be doing. And so I did end up working there, and I lived in Hawaii for 5 years, worked at Sea Life Park as a marine mammal trainer. So that dream came true. And so it means a lot to me. And my sister, she doesn't live there anymore, but my parents used to go visit a lot, and then we actually ended up spreading their ashes in Hawaii. So I still go and visit. It means a lot to me there. Yeah.
That's so sweet.
Yeah.
That's so sweet. Thank you for sharing that. And then handing off to you, River, what was it like? She's the aloha part for you of receiving your new companion.
So funny thing is, I spent 3 of my formative years in Hawaii, and most of my dogs, except for one, all of my dogs except for one, have been named Hawaiian names. And we had no idea that we were going to get Maui. He was actually the first dog that we met at Healing House. And I came in that day, and we were talking about what I needed and all that kind of stuff. And I have very severe anxiety and all that kind of stuff, and I have these things where I freeze, and I had done that when we were in the meeting, and it was right as I think Miss Ashlyn, who was one of the trainers, asked like, what would you need us to do? And my mom said, would you like to see if we could borrow a dog? We can show you. And Maui came up and licked me and took me out of that freeze, and it was actually kind of fun. It was kind of funny because obviously at the time we thought we were going to be in the next year's group. Yes, we got pushed up a group because he had failed a couple of pairings with others, and we were put into and. He paired up with me that summer, which was really great. It was actually really nice. Yeah.
Sweet.
It was a fun surprise.
Yes, it was very.
Gosh, yes. That's really sweet. So there's a Hawaii connection, an aloha connection here that really exemplifies the love part of that word.
Yes.
So what's your life? How is your life different with Maui in your life?
So obviously having a dog with you everywhere is very different than not. You have to make sure that he's, come here, Bob. Maui, come here. Is obviously have to make sure that he's behaving well and all that kind of stuff. But it's also a thing where it's like, I know I'm never truly alone because I almost always have this guy with me. And from what I've heard, whenever he's not with me and he's at home or something like that, he looks for me. Now, you don't usually have trouble with your gentle leader. But but like it's a whole thing where where it is like kind of different having a dog kind of be with you everywhere in a way that it's very nice because I know that I'm never going to be truly alone or anything like that. Maui, stop it. Maui. He doesn't usually have trouble with his gentilator. I don't know what's going on. But like him being with me everywhere is something very, very special, and I'm very happy that I have him. I love him a lot.
Yes, I see. Would you tell us about the special tail and ears about
Yes.
that?
So I happen to be a part of the LGBTQ community, and I was we'll say that I was kicked out of my previous school for being trans and all that kind of stuff. And it was kind of like a thing where this is the first dog that has ever been at this school that I was at. And it was kind of a thing where he doesn't have a dress code. So we were like, okay, you're kicking us out anyways. Might as well do this fun thing and be a part of this school and do that type of thing. And honestly, it makes me smile every time I look at him with his tail and his ears. And the kids, whenever they see him, are like, come in, and they're like, their kids will come out and say, oh my gosh, it's a dog. It has a rainbow tail. And it brings a smile to my face every time I hear that and all that kind of stuff. And it just makes me happy.
Well, thank you for sharing that. One thing when Maui was here previously, Maui showed us some tasks. And would you like to show some of the tasks that you and Maui do together?
Yes.
That would be great.
Mama, come on, lap. So this is his favorite task.
Oh,
Not
yes.
gonna lie, is lap. He loves it a lot. Nudge. So the lap is for when is for deep pressure therapy, and it's a thing where it's like he gets on my lap, and it's supposed to help calm me down because, as I said, I have very severe anxiety, and it will help with that. And then the nudge is for when I am in a panic attack or a freeze, where he can like interrupt that and be that like guy that'll be like I'm in your face now. You can't be sad and scared, and he does that.
Yes, I see. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. It's
Down.
really a beautiful heart story. And it's very exciting to have you here. It's to see the love circle that's happening. So thank you very much for sharing that.
Yes.
And you did create a beautiful little collage, which we're enjoying here on the set, with a lei around it, right?
Yes, that is actually, my family brought a couple of leis that we imported from Hawaii
Perfect.
To be and we gave them out to the participants at
graduation.
Graduation. There we go.
Yeah.
And I just took one of the ones that I had, and I put it. Obviously, we hung it up first to dry, and I put together 2 picture frames and put some things in there. His old collar that he had, because he has a new one on, and his little thing that he had on his hat. His tassel, yeah, that was on his thing, and a few of his puppy pictures. And
Aww.
I put in some screws and put the lei around.
Well, thank you for that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for spending this time with us and getting to know Maui again and getting to know you, River. And thank you, Kathy.
Yes.
And next, we will meet a family who raise and train puppies to be service dogs. Thank you. Welcome back. We'd like you to meet Jan and Tim Thomas and service puppy in training Sunny D with Kathy. So welcome back, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for coming on. And first of all, I just want to know what breed of dog is Sunny D, and how did she get that name?
So Sunny D is a Labradoodle, and she got her name with the rest of her litter mates for this round of service puppies that we have. They're all based off of drinks.
Oh, this is drink. So what kind of drink is Sunny D? Is that...
Sunny Delight orange juice. So,
Oh, okay. All right, thank you.
as you can tell, her colors are orange for that reason.
Thank you for that, because Maui was the Hawaiian class, so Sunny D is the beverage class.
Right.
Yes.
Brilliant. Well, the part of the story we'd like you to tell is the story about being trainers and raisers for puppies, as Kathy was. So how did you find Healing House, and tell me about that?
Yeah, so we actually started at Healing House training our dog. And a lot of the puppy raisers do have their own dogs and end up working with Healing House with their obedience training programs, their initial puppy training programs that they have. And we actually took our dog all the way through and had him certified as what's called a therapy dog. And as part of that program, Kathy talked to us and said, hey, we've got this other wonderful program called Service Dog Puppy Training. And she asked us if we would be interested in it. And we immediately said yes, thought it would be something wonderful to do. And we've been at it for 6 years now doing that.
6 years, so that's quite a journey. And what is it like raising, training these puppies, passing them on to someone new? Tell me about that.
It's a whole range of emotions. I will say that on the top level, it is the most wonderful thing in the world to do. You get to work with a new puppy every year. We typically rotate the various groups together, the various cohorts, about on an annual basis. So you work with new puppies, which is always fun, and it's a very rewarding opportunity to work with these dogs. They're incredibly smart. They're really well behaved. They have their moments, but it's just a wonderful opportunity to work with them and also work with the rest of the puppy trainers. They're just I would characterize them as a family, just a group of people. We all work together as part of the training we do. We go out and do outings. It's just it's a very rewarding program to work with these dogs and get to see what they do for the people that they're ultimately paired with.
We're each other's support system.
We are.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes, and that's beautiful. Well, you must just fall in love with these dogs, and then, yeah.
It's impossible not to. So.
Yeah, and Kathy, you've certainly been part of many puppy trainings and training the trainers. So what is that
Yes.
like?
It has been, like, just Tim mentioned, it's really been the most rewarding thing I've ever done, honestly, in my career, certainly. Yeah, it's so neat to see the whole process from when the puppies are new, and it's hard. It's potty training, and there's crate training, and learning how to do basic commands and walking on a leash. And it can, there are days where it's a little rough. And so like Jen was saying, they're a support system for each other. And so every time we get together, everybody kind of bounces things off each other, and just going from that to the more advanced training, and then for them to see the dogs being paired with who they're going with is, I think, one of my favorite parts. It's just to see that full circle. It's just amazing. Yeah, and we're so grateful that they're willing to do it over and over, even though every year it's very hard to say goodbye to these puppies.
It's heart-wrenching when we have to give them back. And then when we see them with their person at graduation, it's amazing to see the love that the dog and the person have for each other already. That's what makes it worth it.
Well, I attended the March graduation when Kathy and I met, and we talked about the puppy training in our other episode. She promised me it would be a tearjerker, and she didn't lie. It definitely was. And what are some of the memorable times that you've had seeing that handoff happen? And also say more about how the dog chooses the person. I'm hearing a lot about that.
They often do, and
Okay.
it's part of the process that Kathy and the rest of the staff at the Healing House are just so amazing at making that match, because they do somewhat self-select. I would say, when talking about one of the most memorable moments, there's a couple, but our first dog that we ran through, her name was Lee, and we saw her with her person, and she recognized us, obviously, because they know you for life as well, and you you could tell she wanted to come over to us and say hi, but she stopped and she looked at her person and says, "Is it okay?" So just seeing that bond that they had built already, and seeing how those dogs know and understand that this is my job now, this is what I'm supposed to do, and this is what's important. So that was a very telling moment for us to see that happen. So.
And Sunny D, Maui are service dogs. You mentioned a therapy dog. For our audience, can you describe to us what's the difference? How do you know which job the dog is going to have?
I can go if you want, and then I'm passing it.
Therapy dogs are our own personal dogs that we take through training, and then we take them places for de-stress days. For example, we take them for educational purposes at elementary schools or nursing school when they're getting ready for exams, the high schools. The service dog is not our dog. We're just borrowing them and socializing them and training them, and then we drop them off and they get paired, and Kathy takes over from there. And
therapy dogs don't have a specific task or purpose that they're there to perform. They have things that they do to work with people and help them like de-stress and that kind of thing.
We welcome people.
Unlike a service dog that is actually paired with a person for a very specific medical reason, and they have those specific tasks that they do for that person, and they're their dog. So.
Right, Kathy? Say more about that?
Most of our volunteers and their volunteer teams that have therapy dogs, they already had those dogs as their pets and thought, well, they live really friendly. They seem to enjoy being around other people. So they'll come to us for training and to see if the dogs can actually go through that training and then pass an evaluation. So they are really, I mean, they're pets, but they're special pets, that's for sure. Yeah. And they go all around the community and make people smile and feel better, and they just bring a lot of love to a whole mass of people, versus the service dogs that their job is to just be with one person and to learn those tasks that are matched with that person. And they do have different legal rights as well. So a service dog has the right to be in a public place, where a therapy dog or a pet does not have that right. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Got it. That's and then again, we talked about this in the previous episode, but if I see a dog with a service dog in training, I should not interact or pet, correct?
That is one of the differences you will see. A lot of the service dog vests, after they graduate, you'll actually see the do not pet on there, because they're supposed to be focused on their person to see if they need to help them with whatever task they're trained at. The therapy dogs often will have a vest on that says, "Please pet me." But they look very similar in nature, but they're there to interact with people and do those kinds of things.
So are there any tasks that you and Sunny D do together that you'd like to show us?
So we haven't worked with tasks for her yet. That actually comes after
she's still a puppy.
Turn them
she's
in
not
after
a year old, right?
So our job is to train them in basic obedience.
Okay.
Being comfortable in any environment, because they're going to have to go everywhere. As you can tell, Sunny gets very comfortable.
Cameras? Where? What?
But no, his job is just to make them be able to go anywhere and do anything and be comfortable in any situation and be there in an obedient fashion for their person. And the specific task training, that's after they pair up with their person, and then they get to work with their person on learning that, because it is a two-way street. Both of the parties that are part of that agreement have to learn how to do things.
Yeah, so much so. Well, what advice would you have for someone, Kathy, anyone, about someone who'd want to do what you're doing, puppy training and raising?
You do a great job answering that question.
I would just say, if you think it, then do it. If you think that you can be a puppy raiser, if you think that you can welcome them into your heart because you're doing something that you can pay forward. Everybody has gifts that they can do to help somebody else. And this is why we've chosen to do this, because it's our gift that we think we can do for other people. So if you think that you want to be a puppy raiser, then you're probably going to be a great one at it.
Sweet. Anything to add to that?
Yeah, it's a lot of commitment, but I think it's definitely worth it in the end, for sure.
I'll just compare it to, I used to coach youth football, and it's similar in nature, that you'll get more out of it than you put into it. It is very rewarding to do this program. It's just a lot of fun to do it as well. It does take a time commitment, but it's not bad.
Who doesn't like shopping with their dog?
Exactly.
Going to the movies, playing golf, all the things.
Exactly. We do.
have to do with that.
Right. Well, on that very happy and positive note, I want to thank you all so very much. And thank you, Sunny D, for being a little ray of sunshine for us.
Thanks for
very
having
much.
us.
Appreciate it.
Thank
My
you.
pleasure. Thank you for this very special episode. I hope you've enjoyed it. For more information about Healing House, service dogs, and training, you may visit my website, petinfocafe.com.